use. Shut up, Ari. The voice was Estelle's, soft and level. But that was Suburba, the laughing god's razor tone. Those were the laughing god's eyes, tiny orange flames instead of Estelle's warm brown. Veiko is our ally. Show some respect. My apologies, Ari bowed, hands folded in front of his face, made Snow want to shake him upright and explain that the laughing god didn't rate that kind of deference. Gods were just spirits, powerful and arrogant. He might even believe her. Ari trusted too much. The god, yeah, but also her. The laughing god's right hand. Way Ari saw it, she was the person who'd found the god and brought him back. He was happy to let her run the cartel, happy to do what she said about anything. Except in the matter of Veiko. Oh no, then it was toad belly when Ari thought Veiko was out of earshot and skrailing the rest of the time. Enough to make Snow wish for Veiko to lose patience. That would end the sniping. Ari would join the ghost he didn't believe in. You don't mean that, Snow, the god whispered with Estelle's voice, leaned close to her the way Estelle would, shoulders just touching. You don't need that kind of mess. What I need is Estelle back, she snapped, ignored Ari's startled glance and Veiko's knowing frown. He's better in a fight than you. As you wish, my right hand, the god said, loud enough to carry. Ari damn near pissed himself, he was so impressed. But Veiko, fucking damn, that was suspicion on her partner's face, distrust, cracks in the one person she'd wanted, needed, solid. Veiko didn't trust the god, didn't trust Suburba, didn't trust the combination even in Estelle's body. Damn you, she thought, and the god's laughter echoed in her skull. Suburba's laughter. But it was Estelle's face next to hers, not Suburba's, and Estelle's eyes too on the next blink, warm and dark and living. Hazy, as Estelle blinked back into himself. He did it again, yeah? Raspy quiet, as if they were alone. Yeah. Fucking damn. Wearily, with no force. The god came and went as he pleased in Estelle's skin. Estelle wasn't the sort to complain when that visitor had saved his life, and this was the price for it. Her bargain. Estelle hadn't even said idiot to her, or I wish you hadn't. No, Estelle had said thank you, and that made it worse. And now Estelle just took a long breath, and let it out, and squared shoulders and jaw at once. Where we at? Working on this fucking door. Snow ran her hands round the frame. The locks were simple enough. It was traps she worried about. She rummaged through her belt pouch, found a slim little knife and worked it into the gap between door and frame. Yeah, there it was. Fucking needle trap, probably poisonous. Snow wedged the needle out of its socket with the knife, plucked it carefully out of the door frame before it could spring out and poke anyone, and balanced it in her gloved palm. The god mark throbbed hot beneath the thin leather. She marked the ache in her left hand, where the littlest finger still wouldn't bend all the way. Marked the throb in her right arm, where a Taliri's sword had cut halfway to bone back in spring. Marked a dozen littler aches and twinges that said, getting old and get more rest and you won't live long, you keep this up. Snow pried a second needle out, ran the tip of her blade through the gap again, one more check on all the edges, and then stashed the knife, pulled the gloves off, one and the other, flexed her fingers and laid her palms against the door. The wards shivered up through the wood, wriggled against her skin like hot wires. God magic and conjuring were cousins, worked on the same principles, knots of power, part skill, part raw talent, part god favour. For the former, Aeneas was very well favoured, but a ward was only as strong as the skill of its weaver, however much Tal'Shik might love her. Snow closed her eyes, saw the power the lines and sigils patterned across wood and iron, on lintel and frame and hinge, felt their shape throbbing against skin and brain, probed their borders, traced their edges, mapped the shape of them. The wards fled up where she tested them, heat and defiance. Eos was waiting for her, watching. She pushed power into the wards as Snow touched them, so that they glowed blinding, hot, impossible. Instinct said, let go, retreat. Snow ground her teeth together, kept pushing all along the edges of the wards, while Eos followed her like a dog on the wrong side of a fence.